What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys haven't seen the last video, be sure to go back and check it out. We finally planted the B18c Type R in the JDM EF2. Super stoked to finally see a swap in the car. Granted, I've owned the shell for about 3 years now. So I came out here today to write down all the parts that needs to be installed into the car in my little notebook, and it's quite extensive. So I want to try to do as much as I can in today's video. It might be a day, it might be 2 days, because I know a lot of the parts I have here, a lot of parts are in the storage unit, and a lot of parts I need to order from the parts store. So we're just gonna like dive into it, guys. We're just gonna do work rather than talk, and I'm hoping to get this car turned on by the end of the week. I have less than 2 weeks to get this car running well, build the exhaust system, to the alignment shop. I'm not sure if I can get it to the dyno, but I kind of sort of already have a tuned map for the B18c Type R when it was in my red all-wheel drive CRX, as long as I can get the map from my cousin. But the biggest thing is getting the alignment and the car running really well to make this 8-9 hour voyage down to SoCal for the Hanami. So with that being said, guys, let's just dive into the EF2 and see what we can get done. Houston, we have a problem. This is way too short. I don't like how this hose is sticking up really high, so I'm gonna take another vacuum bracket, same as this one here, and I'm gonna cut one off, and I'm gonna bolt it right here to kind of pull it down a little bit. Much better. This right here is the factory dual carb throttle cable, and I have to use it because obviously the car's right hand drive, and it needs to go from there, loop underneath, and come up. Because usually I would use an SI throttle cable, but yeah, that's gonna be way too short. Okay, so I don't have a throttle cable bracket, and the factory Civic throttle cable, the adjustment knob is all the way over here versus it being over here. So I'm gonna have to definitely DIY make something. Probably not tonight. I'm gonna have to go through all my boxes to see if I have any sort of throttle cable holder, so I can modify off of that. But nothing that I haven't done before, so just got to find material. But for right now, throttle cable is on, and we need a bracket. A couple of stuff I need here from the storage unit, and I found this box of a new axle, HO 8057. HO 8057 is 91 Integra front left axle. So this would be left side to the half shaft, and I'm gonna take this with me and try it out. These axles right here are from my brother's B20 VTEC wagon, and this is the transmission side half spline, and this one is for DC half shaft, which is a this right here is a female inlet, and I do have a half shaft over there. I'm not sure if I want to take it. I do have a half shaft right here if need be, and also exhaust gasket. I need that. This is my extra bolt bin in the storage unit. When I need to find something specific, this bin might have it. So I'm looking for a throttle cable bracket. I did find one right here. I might take it with me. And alternator bolt with a square on it. Yep. You grab this bag right here. Grab this bag right here, and I'm gonna toss in all these VTEC distributors and see if I can use one of these guys for the coil-on plugs, because we are going coil-on plugs, except this one, because this is OBD0. I just drove 175 miles, and my intake manifold, ice cold. Freaking cold. If you guys haven't seen this YouTube short, it made over 200,000 views, and it's funny because the first half of the comment section was saying that I don't understand how a fan works. A lot of people are saying there's no way my intake manifold was that cold to touch it. Obviously, I'm gripping and holding and touching the manifold. It's freaking cold. And If you guys watched the vlog to IFO Bakersfield, I literally drove the car over 2 hours to the track, right? And people were kind of talking smack, but you know how that YouTube comment section goes. Now, the top half of the comment section is hilarious because people started talking about my freaking hands. People were saying my hands are freaking, you know, some sort of allergic reaction. Some people are making fun of my hands because it looks like sausage fingers. Some people are making fun of my hands because it doesn't have knuckles. I'm 280 pounds, 5'8", and typically fat people don't really show too much knuckles, but I mean, I have knuckles there. It's just I've been fat all my life, right? And the thing about my hands is that they aren't normal size hands, okay? So a lot of people don't know this. Only my personal friends, they know my hands are freaking ginormous. So right here it says how to tell if you have big hands. An adult male generally has large hands if they measure over 7.6 to 8 inches from the crease of the wrist to the tip of the middle finger. I just want to show you guys really quickly, no diddy, from the tip of my finger to my crease of the wrist, it's 8 inches. My hands are not normal size. My hands are freaking ginormous, okay? Just a little quick comparison to a water bottle. Look at this. Freaking abnormal hands. I don't know why people are, you know, talking shit about my hands or made my hand a topic of that YouTube short, but my hands are not normal sizes. Shout out to my brother-in-law. He had an RSX, and when he sold it, he gave me all his fluids. So we have some manual transmission fluid, which is the same between Acura and Honda for manual trans. I got 2 quarts right there, and also Honda antifreeze. So this is the blue coolant because we're going to be draining out the rest of the green that's in my Type R, and we're going to be switching over to this. So we have fluids. You guys saw we put a Honda filter on the engine, and I got Mobile One synthetic 1030, which is what we're going to be using. Mobile One is what I always used before Rotella when I was back in my all motor days, and it works perfectly fine for me. So we're going to run this in the Type R. So I'm using a GSR transmission, and this is the seal that comes in it for the 94 plus half shaft. Now if you're using a 90 to 93 Integra half shaft, which is a female in, you have to change out this seal to the matching corresponding to the 9093 Integra. So when I was in the storage unit, I popped this off my cable transmission, and you can clearly see the whole size difference, right? Because this one won't fit here at all because it's too small, and then this one corresponding to the half shaft fits perfectly. So I'm going to install this with the half shaft and shoulder bolts, okay? Don't forget these. They are specific to half shafts. Half shaft seal and half shaft done. Header gasket. Can't put the axles in until the radius rods of the traction bar is installed into the lower control arm first. You guys already know, max Pitting rod traction bar, have them in all of my cars. I lied, that one's K-tuned, but I run these in all of my cars, works beautiful. And I was gonna paint it black, but realistically with the time frame right now, I don't have the time to scuff it all up and paint it black. So I'm gonna throw it in the way it is out of the box, powder coated gray, and then eventually later down the road we'll pull it back out and paint it less obvious color. So max Pitting rod, let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, so this is new. I've been using max Pitting rod traction bar for over 5 years, and this is the first time I see the powder coat is a darker gray rather the light gray that it was before. And they have their logo here now when they didn't have it before. I might just leave the bar alone, to be honest with you guys. Bolts in the factory location, uses the factory hardware. Let's get this thing installed. I'm leaving the heims loose right now. When we get closer to taking this car to alignment, I'm gonna adjust the caster, traction bar, driver, passenger CV axle installed. I went through all my hardware boxes, all of them, dumped every single one of them out to try to find a bitch pin. And this organizer I have not touched in a very long time because I have all those little totes right there. So I dug in here, 17s, 10s, interior hardware screws, mud flap screws. These are all like vacuum T-fittings, miscellaneous hardware. Over here, beauty washers, a bunch of them from my first sedan days. You guys remember my purple engine bay. Miscellaneous stuff like nuts. These are 12s, 14s, miscellaneous nuts and stuff. And dude, look, bitch pin number 1. Look, bitch pin number 2. Look, guys, look, bitch pin number 3. Holy cow, I don't remember the last time I've personally done a B series build to need one of these suckers, but good to know I got 3. There we go. So just got to remember that they're in here. And while I was searching for that bitch pin, I found 2 more throttle cable bracket. This one has already been modified, but we have the hook right there. And if you guys know, this is specifically for the speed sensor. We are going to retain the DA one right here, and this is specific. Yeah. Shift linkage. Yes, I came to the junkyard, back to this DB1 that I pulled the power steering pump from, and I needed the crank pulley. It's not there, but somebody did the work for me because it's sitting right here. This is what I need. I pulled the crank pulley off the B18c Type R, and this is the 94 plus pulley with the 4-rib power steering groove, and then the DA one right here with the V groove belt. I'm hoping that this is going to align with the pulley, because with the V groove pulley to the 4-rib, it's kind of off a little bit. So we'll get this thing installed. This right here This right here is the 9093 DA Integra. This one right here is the 94 Plus B series, and you can see the 4-rib power steering belt versus the V groove. This is what I need since I did pull the power steering off the same car. Let's get this installed. I wrapped my seal cam alternator belt right here, and I didn't have to bang in the frame rail because it pulled the alternator like max forward. Alternator belt done. Okay, so I had this V belt hanging out up there for years. I don't use anything that drives with a V belt, and I threw it on just to test the pulley and the DA pump, and it's short by just a little bit. And then I was like, let me go pull the ceiling cam pulley, and dude, look at the size difference. And I'm hoping that this will fit on here, which it will, because the DC and EG are like a big 14-17 mil nut. So I'm hoping that this will fit on here to kind of allow this to slip over, and we can use this belt to save some money. But if we need to buy one, it's not a problem. The belt's on the pulley right there on the end, and I lied. We're still way off. To be honest, guys, we're on day 4 of this video, and I wasn't really trying to go this far with the to-do list, but there's still a few more things that I want to do in today's video, so we're gonna try to button it up today. Yesterday kicked my butt with the power steering stuff, and what it said online was to use VTEC bracket, obviously, because I'm, you know, B series VTEC, and to use the DA pump, the DA lines, and then swap the pulley out. The problem is this is a power steering pump from a non-VTEC engine, and it didn't align with the crank pulley, so I had to space it out, right? And then there wasn't a 4-rib pulley that utilizes a 12 mil bolt. All the newer ones that are 4-rib are like a 14 or 17 mil nut, which is a bigger pulley, and I had to go to the junkyard and get the DA crank pulley with the V-belt groove to be able to use this pump. So once I got the pump and everything kind of aligned where I needed to go, I had to go get a belt. So I went to the parts store yesterday, and the girl that was helping me, apparently she was a driver, so she came to help because the line was super long. And I kept telling her, put in V belt for this make and model, put V belt in the search bar, and, you know, look for the belt that I'm looking for. And she kept typing like serpentine belt, she kept putting belt, and she couldn't find what I needed. So then I gave her the part number. She looked up the part number, but then I explained to her I need a belt like this, but 1 or 2 size up. So I guess she didn't understand, and she was trying to like go through the whole system. She was on her phone like half the time, and then she finally asked the person next to her to help me out. So this gentleman came and, dude, understood what I needed, and 5 minutes later got me a belt and hoses for the power steering return line, which I need to put on from here to here, so that way I can cross off the power steering off my list. But the other thing was, I don't have a bottom bracket. I went to the junkyard yesterday, and every Integra power steering lower bracket were gone, right? So I spent the rest of my night, probably like 12 o'clock I closed up, to make a bracket for the lower power steering right there, right? So right now I got to put a gusset on here to kind of strengthen it a little bit so it doesn't fold, and then I got to do the same thing on the top, put some spacers in between right there, and then secure the power steering pump so we can finally be done with that. Power steering belt and return line done. Injectors done. Now the header, I'm just gonna put on a temporary header for right now, and I'll figure out a header when I do the exhaust system. But for right now, for startup, probably tomorrow, I'm just gonna throw on my temporary header. And I'm only saying temporary because it needs to be repaired. I really want to run this header, but gotta take care of that before I decide to, like, you know, take it on long ass road trips. So for right now, we're just gonna bolt this on. You guys remember we put the Resto Tuner studs? So now we're gonna use the Resto Tuner 12mm nuts. Header done. Shout out to one of you guys. One of you guys sent this to the PO box years ago. And you know, I was doing a lot of K stuff, but now that we're doing B series, these hybrid racing radiator hoses are going to come in clutch right now. It's funny as hell because hybrid racing is a lot of like K stuff, but this is a B series radiator hose, and it just so happened to be for a B16 type R. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this on the radiator beforehand. I forgot to buy hose clamps, so I need to remember to get those. I know you guys like seeing me make stuff, but because we're like a day behind on schedule and I'm really on a time crunch, I just went ahead and made this upper radiator bracket. I just want to show you guys, I took a factory bracket and chopped and modified it. So if you look, same bushing, and I just pretty much repurposed this tab right here, right there, welded it together, sanded it flat, painted it. And you can see on the back side the welds right there to kind of stack it up and make it a little thick. But I'm showing you guys how this goes on. This car didn't come with a radiator or brackets, so obviously I had to make one. And I'm literally using a threaded provision that's on the core support, and I don't know what's supposed to go there, so I'm just going to use it as a mounting point. Use a little grommet on the back side because I don't want to tear up my paint. And then a Resto Tuner hardware. Radiator bracket. If you guys remember my buddy Joel with the blue EF sedan drag car, this is his old radiator. He upgraded to a thicker, shorter drag style radiator, and he gave this to me. So I had to improvise a little bit because he made this tab right here to bolt to his weight plate, and he also cut off the tabs underneath here, and I had to weld this one right here back on using aluminum round tubing right there, right? So we are mounted on one of the factory points. This guy here, we're bolted 10 mil right here to a bracket I made to the frame, and we are bolted with a rubber one right here on the top along with the radiator hoses. This thing, it's not going anywhere. So now we have radiator, hoses, and fan done and out of the way. Last thing I am making for tonight is my throttle cable bracket. So I utilized one of those brackets that I found, which you can see the step right there, And then I made this piece out of cardboard, cut it out of steel, and then welded the two together. So now we have a throttle cable bracket. Throttle cable bracket done. So everything else on the list is everything we need to do to turn the car on, and we're gonna take care of this tomorrow. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and clean everything up and give you guys one more look of the engine bay. It's crazy how this thing is coming together, man. We are gonna be keeping AC. I just got to do all of this stuff when we're back from our trip, because I don't have a compressor or the brackets. But man, we're not that far from first startup. The welding table, the t-shirt workbench, and the main workbench all cleaned up. All my tools, parts outside cleaned up. The garage is closed, and man, we knocked off like 3/4 of the list of to-dos to get this car to turn on. In today's video, quick little recap. We did the throttle cable and bracket. We did the map sensor, fuel pressure regulator, vacuum line, feed line, and return line on the engine bay side. We did the brake booster, vacuum line, and the check valve, along with the heater hoses, the clutch cable, the hydro conversion bracket, half shaft seal, and the half shaft, along with the driver's side, passenger side axle. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I ended up not using those two axles in the storage because I'm driving it far. I ended up getting 2 new axles the same night and installed it off camera. So we got 2 new axles, alternator belt, power steering belt, and the return hose, the header and gasket, temporary header, shift linkage, traction bar, radiator, and hoses, plus the fan, which I need to convert the plug to be able to fit into the factory plug, T-bracket, 19mm bolts, injectors, and that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. Now there still are a bunch of stuff on the list to do that we're gonna make into its own video, because all the stuff we need to do left is what needs to be done to get the engine to turn on. So the exhaust is going to be last. The speed sensor is going to go on once we have transmission fluid, but we'll do transmission fluid once the car turns on, because I want to make sure everything's all Gucci before I waste 2 quart of oil. We got to do the engine harness. We're going to be unboxing that, checking it out, and installing it. Build ground cables, install the battery tray along with the battery, which is on the trickle charger right now, so we can have full power tomorrow. Charge harness, which is just the alternator to the fuse box that we need to make. Battery positive and negative cable. I bought a brand new negative cable. We're gonna have to build a positive cable because that one's integrated to the starter. So off the battery, it's gonna go to the fuse box and then to the starter. So we got to build that. Not a problem, but we are close. We got to change the oil because we already did the oil filter. So I have Mobile 1 1030, and then we have power steering fluid, and the last of the last fluid is going to be the Honda blue coolant. So I'm super stoked, man, because we're cutting close on time, and this build has been a long time coming. And I feel like, man, I had all this time to like get this car more closer to being done, but I wanted to get the racing stuff out of the way. I wanted to fix my blue car and just kind of like, you know, take care of all that stuff first, get it out of the way, get it off my shoulders. Then main focus is the EF2 before the Honda meet, and we've been chipping away. We've been chipping away. Also want to give a big shout out to the homie Marco. He came through like 2 days ago to let me borrow, may possibly buy later, I need a climate control, the JDM right-hand drive auto climate control for my car, just so that when I drive, which I think I'm going to be driving at night, I want to have heater and also have the heater working when we bleed the cooling system. So if you guys don't know what it is, Marco came by to drop this off right here. Auto aircon for the right hand drive. Certain models came with this. My wagon has this, and worst case scenario, if I didn't find one or bought one, I would have robbed it out of the wagon just for this trip. But shout out to Marco because his car is far from being done. It's in primer bodywork stages, so he was like, go ahead and use it for now, and you know, maybe I might decide to sell it and I'd be the first one to get it. So shout out to Marco for dropping this off, man. But I'm excited. I did test the power steering like setup earlier. Granted, we're using so much hybrid parts to make power steering work with the B series EF. I did power up the starter to see if the belt is in line between the two pulleys, and from the quick crank it looked like it's working. But we're really gonna test the ocean when the car actually turns on and you know it's running consecutively with the belt to see if the amount of spacers, washers I put in between is aligning the two pulleys. So we're gonna have to figure that out so we're gonna have to figure that whole situation out when the car is like turned on. But for the most part, as long as we have fluid in the system, I can run the car without the belt and then, you know, tackle more on the power steering unit and the AC stuff when we get back from the show. But it's the least of my worries, man. The car is about to be turned on possibly tomorrow for me, next video for you guys. I am going to wrap it up right here, guys. It's late and I am exhausted, so I'm going to cap out this video right here. Hope you guys enjoyed the progress update on the JDM EF2. If you guys did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. If you guys want to stick around for the first startup of this car, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.